hopefully you can see them eating in there. It's actually kind of adorable, so watch them while you listen to me talk. So it really all depends. I'm not a tortoise person. I love tortoises. I've just never had one, so I can't speak on like land turtles, but aquatic turtles I know quite a bit about, so I'll give you some advice. So first things first, you're gonna need some turtle food, and they're carnivores, so you're gonna need something kind of like this. I bought this at Walmart, but what I do is I mix it. So this is mealworms and pellets, and I will also get crickets and some extra mealworms and put them in there and shake them all up so they have kind of a variety. The pellets are really important because they're going to provide more of like the vegetable type stuff and the vitamins, while as the mealworms are going to give them a lot of protein, as well as the crickets. And I don't have any calcium powder because I just ran out of it, but maybe once or twice a week you're going to want to coat some of the food in calcium powder and put it in there so that they can have some extra calcium, because they won't get that in the diet that we have for them. So another thing is turtles need to be warm, so you're going to want to keep their tank at around 72 to 80 degrees. So you're going to need some sort of heating lamp or heating element just to make sure that their tank stays a good temperature and doesn't get too cold or too hot, because they're reptiles, so they're cold-blooded. So it's going to depend. If their tank is really cold, they're going to be really lethargic and not be moving too much. Also, since they're in captivity, they're not going to be in the sunlight unless you put them in the sunlight, but that can be a little touchy sometimes because if you leave them in the sun, it can make their water too hot. So I would just get a UVB lamp and put it over them so that they can get some of that sunlight, and that I don't really know what that does to help, but I do know that they need it, otherwise they're going to get sick. Also, in the water that we use at home, there's a lot of like toxins and stuff in there that's not good for turtles, so you're going to want to get something like this, just a couple drops in the water, and that will help get rid of all of the toxins and all the bad stuff that's in the water, so that way the turtles can thrive in healthy, clean water. Also, turtles need a spot to get out and dry. So if you look here, they've got a little basking spot, and I've kind of got it sloping into the water so they can get out. But I would suggest a 40-gallon tank for one turtle. And then you're going to have about 3/4 of that full of water. So if you do some kind of rocks or something like this, make sure that there's plenty of water for them to swim in. But I would suggest getting one of those little suction cup things that you can stick to the side of the tank so that the turtle can crawl out and bask and then go into the water and have plenty of room to swim around and have the time of his life. Also, I would suggest not using little pebbles like this because turtles do like to eat the pebbles. I had a turtle for many years that had pebbles like this, and it wasn't really a problem. He would eat them and just poop them back out, but sometimes it can impact the turtles, which is like making them constipated. These guys I'm not worried about because the pebbles are way too big for them to eat. But if you get a bigger turtle, I would definitely say if you're going to use rocks, stack the rocks up on top of each other so that they can get out, or just like I said, use a suction cup thing. I wouldn't use little pebbles like this because you don't want them to get impacted and then die. You're also going to want to get some sort of filter to clean it out. Unless you want to clean it once a week, it gets to be pretty nasty. It stinks and it's sticky and it's slimy. It's really gross. So you're definitely going to want to get a really nice filter, preferably something that can reach to the bottom and get all the big stuff, because like I said, with the crickets and the mealworms, they're not going to eat all of it, so sometimes there's going to be big chunks of like crickets and mealworms at the bottom of the tank, and if you don't have a filter that can get down to the bottom, that's going to build up and it's just going to be really gross, and you're going to have to clean the tank more often. Another thing to keep in mind is all turtles have different personalities, and most of the time if you buy a turtle from the pet store, it's probably already 3 or 4 inches big and hasn't been handled very much, and it's not going to want to be handled, and probably will bite, especially if a toddler is holding it. So if you do end up getting a turtle from the pet store, you're probably not going to want to let the toddler hold it until you hold it and see how its temperament is. Now these kinds of turtles, the teeny tiny ones like this, are illegal to sell this small because kids do end up eating them, so it probably will be impossible to find one this small. So if you do get one from the pet store, just make sure you hold it first and you see what its temperament is before you let the toddler hold it, because it will bite him. Turtles are really great pets, but they're also very high maintenance. You got to make sure their tank is clean, you got to make sure their filter's clean, you got to make sure that they're getting enough light and heat, make sure they have a basking area, and like I said, sometimes they don't like to be held. So sometimes when you do get a turtle, they're great pets, but you just got to look at them, you can't touch them.